In the last episode, we learned how to find hidden architectural decisions by tracing friction. But once you see the problem, what do you actually do next? Friction tells you where the system resists change, but friction doesn't tell you what to change. To move forward, we have to trace the friction back to structure. Don't start with solutions. Start by naming the structural constraint behind the friction. Not teams don't collaborate well, but this feature depends on a shared database owned by 3 teams. Translate pain into structure. Every constraint came from a decision. Ask, what problem was this decision originally solving? Was it reducing duplication, centralizing risk, improving consistency? Now you're working with history, not blame. Every architectural decision encoded an assumption about scale, about team structure, about how often change would happen, about where risk would sit. Ask, what had to be true for this to be a good idea? Now compare the original assumption to today's reality. 1 team then, 5 teams now. Low change frequency then, continuous delivery now, central risk then, distributed responsibility now. This gap is the real architectural problem. Most structural misfits fall into a few categories. Scale mismatch, structure too centralized for growth. Ownership mismatch, boundaries don't match responsibilities. Change frequency mismatch, structure too rigid for how often change happens. Risk mismatch, governance heavier than the actual risk requires. Only now, after you understand the decision, the assumption, and the mismatch, can you safely change the structure. Now you can explore structural adjustments. Split shared data by domain ownership. Move boundaries so teams own end-to-end capabilities. Decouple release pipelines. Shift from hard approvals to automated guardrails. Notice, these are structural moves, not technology trends. The mistake is to apply local fixes to systemic problems. If the constraint is structural, the solution must be structural too. The goal isn't to modernize. The goal isn't to refactor everything. The goal is to reduce unnecessary coordination while keeping risk under control. If a change reduces coordination but increases uncontrolled risk, you moved the problem, you didn't solve it. That's how architecture regains alignment with reality. Mature architecture rarely changes through big rewrites. It evolves through deliberate, targeted adjustments to structure. Small boundary shifts can dramatically reduce coordination overhead. Architecture isn't fixed. It's a living system of decisions that must evolve as assumptions drift. The architect's role is not just to design systems. It's to continuously realign structure with reality. In the next episode, we'll look at how to design new decisions so they age well over time.